Recently, I've been seeing a lot of drone footage, which is odd because I thought that drones had had their day. But this raises an important issue. A few years ago, when drones first became massively popular, several countries, including Germany, started to regulate what you can and can't do with them. Are all drone pilots aware of the rules? There are a few worrying signs that some people might be taking liberties. When I was planning my Quedlinburg video last year and asked for permission to film inside the church, the reply that I got included the advice that I would not be allowed to fly a drone. That they felt it necessary to tell me that suggests that they have had problems in the past with people flying drones inside the church. Wow. So here are the rules for anyone hoping to fly a drone in Germany. Any drone that weighs over 250 grams must have a label with the name and address of the operator. If your drone weighs more than 2 kilos, you must first pass a proficiency test before you can be allowed to fly it. This can be done at any test centre approved by the Federal Aviation Office. If it weighs more than 5 kilos, you also need to apply for a permit from the local state aviation authority whenever you want to fly it. This can take a few weeks to process and cost 100 or 200 euros. You also need special permission to fly over 100 meters, and you must always have a line of sight to your drone. There's also a long list of no-fly zones. Under no circumstances must a drone come closer than 1.5 kilometers from the perimeter fence of an airport. Nobody knows exactly what might happen if a drone with a lithium battery is sucked into an aircraft engine, and nobody really wants to find out. No-fly zones also exist above federal and state government agencies and offices, prisons, hospitals, nature reserves, autobahns, federal routes, federal waterways and railways. You also can't fly over crowds or anywhere the emergency services are working, so scenes of accidents and disasters, for example. If you want to fly over private property, you must first get the permission of the owner of that property. And that includes a lot of tourist attractions such as, for example, castles. If your footage shows private areas not normally visible from street level, then you should also get permission before you put it on the internet. In addition to all of that, many cities and towns also impose their own regulations. You might need to get permission from the local municipal council before flying a drone. This is all bad news for most tourists because it means that in many cities it's pretty much impossible to legally fly a drone. But these regulations were felt necessary due to a proliferation of drones and concerns over public safety and privacy. So realistically, you'll have to go out into open country if you want to fly a drone, and even then you'll have to make sure that you're not flying in a nature reserve. In other words, if you're a tourist, don't bother with a drone. If it weighs more than 5 kilograms, you also need to apply for permission for a permit permit. Yes, permit from the relevant state 1.5 kilometers over